How you doing, everybody? It is Tazz Da Angel back with more car talk, good conversation you can ride to. And first off, I just want to say thank you for everyone from my as of the last episode that I posted. Be watchful for Seesaw speakers. We have reached and exceeded over 1,000 listens. So before I get to any topic, before I get to any type of opening of conversation, I want to say thank you for everyone who has been listening, who has been sharing to others, who's been applauding or liking, anyone who has supported this podcast in any way. I just want to tell you thank you. Because you don't have to take that time out. You don't have to listen to me speak for between 20 and 30 minutes. Like, you don't have to. And I appreciate you for taking the time out, whether you agree or disagree. I just appreciate you for taking the time out and listening and supporting this podcast. Thank you. And reaching this milestone, it honestly makes me want to continue to be more and more transparent with my listeners. So today we'll have kind of a dual message. And the first part of it is knowing how to accept people for who and where they are. Not what they are, but where they are. Because that's extremely important. And the second thing, or the second message, is knowing when to leave the asses behind. So in lieu of that, I will give you the story or the example that happened in my life very recently, like literally just last week, and some more this week, but that inspired this topic. So at my job, there was a position that had opened up, and the company decided to hire internally. They wanted to promote from inside the company, right? Instead of like hiring someone from another company or like transferring. They didn't want to do that for this specific position, this specific time. They chose to hire in-house. And this position actually opened up, I want to say about 3 months ago, maybe October, November-ish, something like that, because the guy who was in that position left for about 2 weeks, but then he chose to return. And the guy, he had been there for a while and has had well over a decade in that field. It's a quality assurance position, which means, we have to, before the product leaves our warehouse floor, we have to inspect it and make sure it's good for the customers. So that guy left, and I, along with other people, applied, but like I said, he returned, so they chose to allow him to come back. And that position, or another one, not his, but they chose to hire another person in that same position internally. So I, along with several other employees, applied, and I got an interview. To be honest, it's going to sound like I'm boasting, but I'm not. I killed that interview. This is as humble of a brag as I can give. Like, objectively speaking, like if I was someone who was just sitting in, or if it was someone else who gave the exact same interview, I would say they killed that interview. So I have to be able to give myself that too. You know what I mean? But I did really well. I answered questions quickly and honestly. And they asked questions that I didn't think that they were going to ask, so I didn't just have like this blueprint of what they're going to ask, because I didn't, like, they asked things that I had no idea they were going to ask me. But I was able to think about the answers quickly and respond honestly. Um, and it was a really good interview, right? And there was a excuse me. There was another lady on the same shift as I am, who applied, and various other peoples from different shifts. So about a week and a half go by, and none of us hear anything. And last week, like starting last Monday maybe, people started getting answers. They started getting, called into the human resources office, and one by one, people were, coming back out with, oh, they told me no, oh, they didn't want me, and the last two people were myself and another lady, the lady who applied that's on my shift, and they had called her in. It was last Thursday morning. They called her in the office, and they told her no. And she came up to me. She asked me, have you heard anything? And I said, no, I haven't heard anything. I was still working on the line. I told her I hadn't heard anything, which I didn't. And at the time, even if I was actually hoping that they didn't offer me the position, because some things were going on at home, and I actually thought I was going to have to move to night shift. At that time, it was set in stone. I was moving to night shift. So the warehouse manager comes and gets me off the floor, says, hey, can you come talk to us? So he and the human resources lady are in the office, and they said, he started out by saying we had a series of interviews and things like that, and we believe that you were the best candidate, so we want to offer you the position. And I had been wanting this position for months, and I can tell that which said a lot to me, that the warehouse manager, as well as the human resources worker, or the head, she's the head of human resources. So they were both really excited to offer me the position, but I had to decline it. And I felt so bad because, like I said, I'd gone after this position before. They took it off the market, and then when it was back on, they actually want me to do it, and I got to go to night shift. I can't even work in the day anymore because of things going on at home. So I tell them, I really appreciate the opportunity, but I'm not going to be able to accept it because of things going on at home. Probably going to have to go to night shift. So they both expressed how disappointed they were. And the warehouse manager even told me upon exiting, because like I said, I told them no. So, but they did ask if there was if I could try to work some things out. They said if it's set in stone that I have to go to night shift, or if I'm able to accept it, just try to let them know by tomorrow. So they, otherwise they're going to pick back up and have to re-interview or review the interviews that they had, and review the candidates. And upon me exiting, the warehouse manager, he shook my hand and said, even if you're not able to accept this position, we have good things in store for you. We have big things planned for you. That's what he said. So that made me feel really good, knowing that my efforts have been noticed. Because many times when you're just going to work day in and day out, it becomes a routine. So because it's a routine, nothing seems abnormal to you. But people who are observing may be able to see or notice the difference in how you perform your job and how others do it. So that made me feel good, because the guy who's at the top of the warehouse noticed my work ethic and performance. So I get back out to the floor, and this is kind of drawn out, but it's coming to a close. So I go back out to the floor, and I get back on my line. I start running my line, and immediately people come over, hey, what'd you hear? And I didn't know how to tell them that they gave me the, oh my gosh, what did it just say? Oh, okay. So I didn't know how to tell them. I got a notification on my phone. I didn't know how to tell them that even though everybody else got told no and I got told yes, that I told them I couldn't take the position. So what I said was, they told me it's looking pretty good in there. They told me it's looking good, but I'll know more either by tomorrow, which was Friday at that time, or Monday, because they're off during the weekend. And people were immediately upset by that. Someone that I have a relationship with, a friend of mine, he was on the other side of the warehouse, and he was being my ears for me, and I appreciate him for that, because he wanted to be honest with me and make sure that other people were too. So he relayed their feelings back to me. He said, the general consensus over there is not too happy that you were told that it's looking good for you, because everybody else was told no. And it was, again, I want to reiterate that there was only one other person on my shift who even applied to this position. Yet, a group of people were displeased by the simple fact that I wasn't told no. So this is where the message comes in. A message is, some people, and this is the know when to leave the asses behind part. Some people are so jealous-hearted and so self-centered that they will be upset with you just because you aren't told no. Just because a door wasn't slammed in your face, they will be upset with you just because the door is cracked open. It hadn't been completely open to you and you didn't walk through. But just because that door did not slam in your face, they'll be upset with you. And this is where knowing how to accept people for who they are and where they are comes in. When they do that, that's fine. That's completely okay. Don't fret over that. Don't be upset about that, because if they're that quick to be displeased that a door wasn't slammed in your face, then they never really wanted it to open for you in the first place. That rhymed on the low. But they never wanted that to open for you. So now that you know that, you know who they are and where they are as it in regards to you and your success. Let me unplug this. It's telling, oh no, it's telling me that recording and charging can cause it to overheat. So just unplug the charger. But so you're going to have situations in your life where you thought people were there for you, people were there to support you, people were there to help you move forward, but they were only okay with you because you guys were equal, because you guys were on the same level. You guys were you guys were the same, essentially. They're okay with you being the same. They're not okay with you elevating. And that's fine. Because when you realize that people are not okay with you elevating, realize that they have reached their maximum altitude. You haven't. Continue to rise. Don't stop yourself. Don't stifle yourself to stay behind for anybody. You have to remain available for growth. And if someone is upset with you from the possibility of your growth, then you know not to expect support from them when you truly do grow. Because I could have easily said at that point in time, yeah, they want me to have it, but I don't even know if I'm going to take it. I could have done that. But I wouldn't get anything from that. I wouldn't get any feel good from saying the job that they told you no, I told them no. Why? For what? There's no real purpose behind that. There's no real purpose behind that. So it rattled me for about 15 seconds. Because when I was told this person, how is this person upset with me? They didn't even apply. They didn't even try. They are upset with me, not for getting told I have the position now, because they're not privy to that information. They're not aware of those circumstances. They are only aware that I wasn't told no. How is this person upset that I wasn't told no? Because they don't think that I'm good enough. Just to not even make it a long drawn out thought process. They don't even think I'm good enough. But deep down, it's truly because they don't believe that they're good enough. Because if they did think that they were good enough, they would have at least put themselves up they would have put themselves in the race. They would have tried to become a candidate. So because they didn't think that they were enough, of course they're not going to think you're good enough. Of course they're not going to think I'm good enough. So that's fine. Continue to be you. I tell people all the time, you have to learn a person's percentage. Some people are 100. Some people are 100. Right? Some people might be 95. They almost there. But they not really there yet. They still got some You might run into a couple of 40s, bro. You might run into some 30s, some 50s. You will run into more people under 100 than who've reached 100. And 100 doesn't mean perfect. It just means genuine. It doesn't mean perfect, because you will never find someone who's perfect. But you can find people who are genuine. And once you realize a person's percentage, you have to be able to accept where they are. Because a lot of times we look at people and we form bonds with them, and we have this image of them in our mind of what they can become, because we see the potential in them. We see the possibilities that they can achieve, the things that they could do. We see all these different attributes that they possess. But if they don't realize that they have it, we have to be able to accept them exactly where they are. And sometimes accepting them where they are means subtracting them. And sometimes accepting them where they are means leaving them where they belong. Leaving them in your life because they still hold value. And you may still hold value in them and helping them mature. So you can't be so quick to just cut people off because they can't give you everything you want them to give you. Sometimes you have to be the person to pour into them. Sometimes the reason why they are at a lower percentage isn't because that they are just always there. It's because they have been depleted. It's because they need hydration. They need to be replenished. Maybe you're the person who's supposed to fill them up. Pause. Maybe you're the person who's supposed to help them reach a higher plane, a higher level. When you reach that final level, your mind, body, and soul must be one. It's a sacrifice. It takes hard work. It's the way of life. 'Cause you got that glow. Last Dragon is my favorite movie. I apologize. So, know how to accept people for who and where they are. Cutting people off is not always the option. Sometimes you just have to lower a person's importance in your life. You don't have to cut them all the way to 0. If they're 30, then just lower them down to a 30. If they're 50, lower them down to a 50. If you find out that they're 100, raise them up to 100. Sometimes you got to allow people to play a bigger part in your life because they're more important and they're more beneficial, not just to you, but to both of you, to both of your progression. You may progress better together than you would without each other. So you have to be able to accept people for where they are. And because of that, you must also know when it is time to leave the asses behind. When a person has reached their plane, if they don't think that they can achieve something, or if they're mad just because a door isn't slammed in your face, then that's a person who you got to leave by the wayside, you know? So, I appreciate you guys for, one, reaching over 1,000 listens. I'm so thankful for that. You don't understand. It may seem small to a lot of people. If it's not seven figures or six figures, people think that it's not important. I am so thankful for you guys getting me to four figures in listens. I mean that, because I remember when I was only getting one listen here, I was getting two listens there. Even though I was sending it out, I was only getting 3, 4, 5 listens a podcast. Now I've gotten over 1,000 listens. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And now I'm saying, continue to ride with me. Continue to support me. I appreciate it. If you guys have any responses to anything that I say, feel free to do so. This will be posted on my YouTube channel, Tazz Da Angel, Tazz space Da space Angel, Tazz Da Angel. It is also in the bio of my Instagram, Tazz underscore Da underscore Angel. And of course, it'll be posted on all other sites where you can listen to a podcast: Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Anchor, which is the app that I use to spread it out to all these places, Cash.app. I mean, it's anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. My podcast is available. So just please continue to support, continue to share, continue to listen. Continue to give me feedback, because I really appreciate when you do so. If there's things that you need me to work on, if you want me to try recording earlier so I won't have to have car lights, I understand. If it's anything, just let me know, and I will work on it to make this podcast as beneficial, not only to you guys, but to me too, because I listen back to some of the things that I say, because sometimes you need to speak. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you got to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak into yourself. Many times, not even just sometimes, many times you have to speak into yourself and give yourself positive affirmations so you can give someone else those same things. And just so you can move forward and progress. But anyway, I don't want to, that's a whole nother topic for another day. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. That has been another episode of Car Talk with Tazz Da Angel. Good conversation you can ride to. Have a great night, y'all.